there's one main reason that I think the commodities, including gold and silver, are going to rise appreciably in the month of December, and it's probably going to finish out pretty strong at the end of the year. And that is the European Summit that's coming up on December 8th and 9th this week. So that's right around the corner, a few days from now. Today is December 6th, Tuesday. Now, irregardless of what happens on this, I still think they're going to make it sound like they did something good, and it's going to be good for the markets. The markets are very much sensitive to every little word that comes out regarding the euro. That goes one way, then it goes the other way. And this is a key thing. It says they're beginning to create a fiscal union, a true fiscal union. And that's what the crisis is really about, I think. I think a lot of times a crisis is even brought about maybe just to bring about change. I mean, that's been done so many times before. But it just may be that, you know, they're gonna put this together step by step by step, and they're gonna resolve the problem step by step by step. But mathematically, it does seem like it can't last. But in the short term, it's going to hold together. That's what I keep thinking. Merkel told lawmakers Friday she was stressed that the European debt crisis will not be resolved overnight. The process will take years. But I think from this meeting, they're going to have some good news. And in what seemed like a concession by Sarkozy from France, in other words, they're going to do automatic sanctions for member states that violate any existing rule to keep the budget deficits under 3% of the gross domestic product. So, and also, Treasury Secretary Timmy Geithner is going to be spending most of the week in Europe. So, you know, they're going all out to save this thing. And they will. They will save it, at least in the short term. So, what's that going to mean to all the metals? And I'm including copper. You know, I know everybody's interested in silver and gold, but I'll include copper, I'll include palladium, oil. It's going to be bullish for all the commodities across the board, and at least in the short term. So, like, what I could see is that gold and silver probably going to do. I'm not sure about silver, because silver, it seems to, you can't predict it. You really can't predict it short term. Sometimes it goes nuts in the short term, and it's like it's extremely volatile. But I'm going to point out a couple common sense things about silver anyway. I still think the silver is going to probably go up some this year. And I picked up a little more PSLV this morning below $32 spot price. And I don't know how much more physical I want. I mean, I got mainly physical as it is. And then Angela Merkel from Germany again ruled out the creation of Eurobonds. But if you look in other articles behind the scenes, she's all talking about it. She can't say this in public because the Germans don't even like the euro as it is. They want to go on their own. So it would be political suicide for her to say in public she's for the creation of Eurobonds. I think she is, because they're all talking behind the scenes. There's some stories coming out. They're all talking behind the scenes that they're going to create. They want to create euro bonds as a long-term solution for the euro. What they're going to do is the European Commission has proposed issuing so-called stability bonds as part of the plan to pull government debt across Europe. So that they're going to do stuff on this, and it's not going to change right away. There's going to be this crisis going in and out, in and out, in and out. But as far as the euro just falling apart in the next couple months, doubt it very much. Doubt it very much. Although there's going to be a bunch of scares. It's all psychological. But I think in the short term, it's going to look good. The European Central Bank is widely expected to cut interest rates again for a second time in as many months as its regularly scheduled policy meeting Thursday. That's coming up here this Thursday, I think December 8th or 9th. But they're not going to do any quantitative easing. They don't expect them to announce plans to make large unlimited purchases of government debt. So Mario Draghi, who took over for the ECB president in October, said last week that other elements might follow if political leaders adopt a new fiscal compact. And that's the key word. They're going to work They're going to force them to work together, or they're all going to freaking go down. That's exactly the game they're playing. And that is, it's almost like the crisis is a good thing for the power that's that be. A lot of people are thinking, oh, the elite are all going to fall apart, and oh, yeah. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're playing this because they're forcing all the countries in Europe to work together, and they're going to have to either do that or they're not going to survive on their own. So this is a game they're playing. I'm not saying it's the right game, but in reality, that is the game they're playing. And according to this article, and I agree with this 110%, it says, our view is that whatever emerges out of the December 8th, 2011 European Council will be presented as a success. I say that without a doubt, because the powers that be want this to be a success. They don't want things going down. So this is going to be very bullish for the commodities, I think, in the short term. So people are wondering what's going on with silver and gold as far as the end of the year. I think they're still going to go up. So this morning I got a little bit of PSOV, and I added a little bit more to that. I'm still out of the oil, not out of it. I got out of it a little more than half. I don't know if that was a mistake, but technically it kind of looks like it might pull back to 95. So that's the risk I took. But I decided to take some of that money and buy a little bit more PSOV with it. So, and I do have plenty of silver, so physical. So that's the way I do it. I don't like doing all one thing. You know, I don't trust any one area. If I knew the future 100%, inside of a year, I'd be passing up George Soros. Okay. I mean, that's the reality behind it. If you really knew what's going on, and even one commodity, 100%, you own the world. I mean, that's mathematically that's the way it comes out. So I split my risk. I was looking at this again. This is gold is the yellow or amber, whatever you want to call that. The silver is the black, and the red is the Brent oil. Now this is going back a while to 2007, and I put these three up here because I think they all do run together pretty close. Now there is a pretty strong correlation between oil and gold, more so than silver and oil. Okay, but just want to reiterate something again. When you look back at this point around August 2010 up to about June of 2011. That was the QE, this period in here, and that is really what the heck. That's what made silver take off. So we got more QE coming up pretty soon, and normally when silver's in a super hard bull run, oil is in a super hard bull run. When they have a good correlation when they're in hard bull run together. I mean, when there's a hard bull run in oil and silver, usually you'll see something going on with oil. But what happened back here in 2008, when oil kept continuing up, and I'm thinking this is going to happen here because of tensions in the Middle East, and I'm going to show something else where there's a lot of traders that think so, because I'm going to look at another thing that people don't look at too much. This will actually cause a crash in the economy. I mean, eventually, if the oil goes up to like $200 something a barrel, it's gonna trash the economy. That may be something that, you know, I'm not even paying attention to Lindsey Williams anymore, because I think I can figure out the future better just by looking at hard facts. And I know maybe he does get good information, and maybe he is honest, but he's not been making very good calls lately on things. You know, I mean, he predicted 150 to 200 $1 a barrel oil somewhere between the time frame of June 2011 and October 2011. He called $75 silver for 2011 by the end of the year. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's dishonest, and I'm not saying even the guy that's giving him information is giving him disinformation. Just that they don't know. They don't know. I mean, you got to really use your head. So I think it's a given that Israel is going to strike Iran at some point in time, and they're not going to wait till after the election. I think that's a given. They're not going to do that. So you're going to see this oil spike like crazy, and it's not even just because of that. It's also because of demand from emerging nations and the supplies of oil. Actually, a lot of places are starting to hit peak oil. There's more demand coming from the local economies of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Iran. They're actually using a lot more of their oil for their domestic use. I mean, if you look at the United States is a very big oil producer. It's just that we're a much bigger oil consumer. In the globe, the United States does produce a heck of a lot of domestic oil. So, I mean, if this type of lifestyle is being envied by everybody in the world, including OPEC nations, they're starting to adapt our lifestyle. So what's going to happen is the oil is just going to go up through the roof, even without a war. Even without a war. So, the car demand, everything. I mean, even if people are buying smaller cars, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's more consumers being added to the market in China, in India, Brazil, and other places across the world, and including in the Middle Eastern countries themselves. So I think what's going to happen with this, basically, though, in a short term with oil, as far as over the next 4 months, I think Israel will do a strike against Iran, and they can actually do it at any time. Now, as far as Russia getting involved, I think it's going to be a lot of talk. And I'm going to show you something on this. This is not very well known. Yeah, there's only like a few price points for oil in the world, but this is called the Russian Brent. It's the Russian export Brent crude oil, the REBCO. And this is the Brent crude oil. And I was looking at the futures from like January 2012 to, all the way down to December 2015. And I was just doing a comparison because usually they run together a lot tighter. And recently it looks like the Russian Brent crude oil has been running a premium to the worldwide price. And the reason for that is it's really a no-brainer. It's the fact that when Iranian oil gets cut off, or if Iranian does a self-imposed restriction on crude oil that it's exporting to other countries like Europe, like Greece, for instance. Greece gets a lot of oil from Iran. They will do more damage to the West than a bomb would. That's exactly their whole plan anyway. I mean, they're trying to destroy the West financially. I know they're mad at the West for various things that went on in the past, and I can even comment upon that. I mean, when the West installed the Shah, the elite were stupid because instead of just looking at the numbers, they could have reeled this guy in, the Shah, in very quickly and stopped him from doing a lot of bad things in the country, and there wouldn't have been all this resentment against the West. I personally, the Western interest invested a lot of money in Iran, and somebody came in there and it says we're going to nationalize all the oil companies. I could see why the West would want to overthrow that guy. But the thing is, they should have managed him. They should have managed the Shah where he was not committing all these human rights abuses in Iran. And guess what? It would have saved the elite a heck of a lot of money. But they don't think like that. They're stupid. They think short term. How much money do I have right now? Well, that's just my opinion of how a lot of people in business are. But if they were managing the Shah, they would have been all right with the situation. It's getting a little off subject, but that's somehow how I think. I don't totally disagree with the elite in every respect, to tell you the truth. As far as the Russian Brent, there is a lot of impetus and speculation that the Russian Brent is going to be higher than worldwide Brent, and for the reason obvious that if Iran does a self-imposed restriction on its exports, or the sanctions cause it to be that way, or a war causes it to be that way, Russia is going to make out. They're the largest exporter of oil in the world. They actually passed up Saudi Arabia. Sometimes they run right around neck and neck. So if the oil goes up to $200 a barrel, Russia is going to double its money on crude oil exports from its country, and that is one of the largest things that gives it power. So I don't think they're going to be. They might go against the West then, but I don't really think they care about Iran. I can almost guarantee you that. But as far as in the short term, do bet that from this European summit that's coming up on December 8th and December 9th, there's going to be a lot of good words coming out from that. So you're going to see some serious rallying in the commodities, in the gold, and in the silver, and possibly even in the oil too, short term. I mean, I could have maybe messed this up as far as selling this oil. Technically, I didn't sell all of it. You know, I don't like going all in and out. Half is like what you usually should do if you're taking a big jump. Technically, I expect possibly this to pull back to 95 and then take off again, because it seems like this resistance level at this 100, 101, there's one at 102 and 103. It's very hard, so it might pull back a little bit. And I got some patience. But when I saw silver jump below 32 this morning, I bought a little bit more silver. So you got to be flexible. And again, it looks like nice words are coming out about reasons for why palladium's going to come up quite a bit, and it probably will. So you know, if you actually look, this metal's made some serious gains. I wish I bought some more when it was down at around 570. I mean, that's a nice quick gain in a month. I mean, you got about a good 20% there, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, yeah, you should hold the metals long term, and that's what I mainly do. But I do two things. That's the way I do it. So I'm going to be a little more flexible with this and listen to my own thoughts, but other than some of the people I get ideas from, because I usually got a head for looking at the curveballs, and you know, like I says, everything I'm doing, this is the way I'm playing it. I'm not telling anybody to play it this way, but this is exactly how I'm playing it. So I would bet that commodities for the end of December are going to go up, and that includes the gold and the silver. So, and that's going to be due to some good news coming out of this European summit on December 9th when it's finished.